If you're going to go about starting your own business, there's a lot of work you got to do. A lot of people just say, I'm just go out there and open my place and the people will come. Well, it doesn't work that way, as you're probably aware. You can't just build it and they will come. That's not true. You got to do an awful lot of work. Now, it's been a learning experience about all of the work that has to be done to get something up and running. You got to look at the logistics. You got to look at your payer mix. You got to look at what the patient population looks like. You got to look at your competition. Who are the other people in the area? What do they offer? How are you going to stand yourself out from them? Where are you going to put your location? How are you going to pay for it? You got to get your phone up before you can get on any insurance panels, and when you're going to get on the insurance panels, how long is it going to take? Who are you going to get to help get you on them? Or are you going to do it yourself? If you do it yourself, do you know what you're talking about? There's just a lot of work.
Hey, I'm Jesse Garza with the Premier Leadership Podcast, the place where we have real conversations with real leaders. Today, my guest I'm happy to have is Dr. Jim Warren, founder of Apollo Pain Management. Jim, welcome. Thanks for joining me. How are you today?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing good. End of the day. I'm always happy at the end of the day.
Awesome. Yeah, we're halfway there, right? Midweek.
Yeah, exactly right.
Well, I'm looking forward to talking about the work you're doing with Apollo Pain Management. First, would you mind sharing a little bit about your story and what led you to where you're at now?
So I was originally trained as an anesthesiologist, and I was doing that for about 13 odd years. Basically, I kind of wanted to go my own way. I wanted to, I wanted to be part of the leadership of whatever group I was in. Unfortunately, with the way medicine is going with the anesthesia groups, most anesthesia groups, the physician that the patient gets to see, they're employed. That was my situation. I was employed. And, I wanted to have more of a say, and I went from one group to another. My last group that I was with said, there was room for that. And after a couple of years, actually less than a year after I joined with them, they sold to a big venture capitalist group. The rest of us were kind of left out in the cold. We're employed. So I decided, there's only one way I'm going to be able to run my own show the way I like and do medicine the way I like. That's if I had my own office. Well, as an anesthesiologist, there's only one way to have your own patients, and that's in the practice of interventional pain medicine. And so that's what I decided to do. So that was in that was 2017 when I decided to go about doing this. But I wanted to do it the right way. As a doctor, you could just go out and hang up your shingle and, hey, look at me, I'm a pain doctor. But I wanted to go about the right way. I wanted to do the fellowship. I wanted to make sure it was ACGME accredited so that I could become board certified in pain as well. So at the age of 51, I dropped out of anesthesia and took a huge pay cut so that I could go to my fellowship here at the University of South Florida. And as soon as the fellowship was done, the day after I graduated, we opened our door. Well, actually 2 weeks. 2 weeks after I graduated, we opened our doors. I'd been working on it the entire year during fellowship. So it's not something you just kind of do. But I thought about it a lot. I went through a lot of iterations, and we opened our doors on July 9th, 2019. And we've been going, I'd love to say we've been going strong ever since, but we all know what happened shortly after 2020. So it wasn't strong the whole time. So that's it in a nutshell.
Why the road there, but you're still here.
Yeah.
So that's a testament to,
So
as you
far,
said,
so good.
yes, day by day. And I love spoken like a true leader that you saw like the issues when you were working for someone else's practice and you wanted to.
Yeah, and when you go about, if you're going to go about starting your own business, there's a lot of work you got to do. A lot of people just say, "Hey, I'm just go out there and open my place, and the people will come." Well, it doesn't work that way, as you're probably aware. You can't just build it and they will come. That's not true. You got to do an awful lot of work. Now, it's been a learning experience about all of the work that has to be done to get something up and running. You got to look at the logistics. You got to look at your payer mix. You got to look at what the patient population looks like. You got to look at your competition. Who are the other people in the area? What do they offer? How are you going to stand yourself out from them? Where are you going to put your location? How are you going to pay for it? You got to get your phone up before you can get on any insurance panels. And when you're going to get on the insurance panels, how long is it going to take? Who are you going to get to help get you on them? Or are you going to do it yourself? If you do it yourself, do you know what you're talking about? There's just a lot of work. And you haven't even talked about the little stuff like, furniture, desks, chairs, pencils, pens, paper, printers, computers. How many computers? How often are you going to change them out? How much is that going to cost? It's a lot of there was a lot of work that I learned in 1 year, a little maybe a year and a half, because I actually started the education process before I started my fellowship, thanks to some friends of mine who were good businessmen, unlike me, and so they put me on the right track. And it's incredibly important that you do that because there's just too many pitfalls, any one of which can trip you up to the point where you fail even before you start it. It just even before I opened my doors, I really started to see the exact amount of perseverance and work it takes to get a business, any business, but especially in medicine, which is very difficult, especially these days, up and running. It's been an experience, and COVID, as you know, came along in 2019. We had been open for about 8 or 9 months, and we were just starting to get traction. We were just starting to see our patient population move up. People were hearing about us. We were sending referrals, and then boom, everything stopped. That was a tough one. Absolutely.
Well, all of the operational items or tasks that you described, they, when I think of in my experience with within the medical field, the providers that I knew and know, they're not interested in doing those things. You want to practice your trade, right? So you must have had a strong team around you to help you.
Well, no, actually, you're absolutely right. You don't want to do it. And a lot of the older guys don't want to do it because they've done it before and they'd realize how much work it takes now. Because a friend of mine once said, learning, not even just the learning curve, but the curve for success used to be very, 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 very low. It was not a very high curve. You could make success fairly quickly. But with after COVID, ever since COVID, with inflation and everybody wanting to work from home and the quality of the people who want to come out and actually work for you and how much more they want, now the curve for getting success is so much higher. People don't want that headache. And so they say, I'll just go and work for somebody and I'll be fine. Okay, great. That's fantastic. Good for you. But having worked as an anesthesiologist for like 13, 14 years before I did this, the problem with working for somebody else is they're going to set your schedule. They're going to set what you do, how you do, and what you do. And there's always that little tacit thing where they say, you might say, hey, this case, I'm not sure I want to do this case. This looks a little, I think maybe we should hold off on this thing. You do that one too many times, you're going to get called from the CEO or the boss saying, hey, you don't have to do this case, but if you don't do these cases, we will find somebody who will. But if something goes bad, they can always say, hey, he's the doctor. He could have said no. So that's a bad situation for doctors to be in. And that's more, most of the doctors find themselves these days. When you are at least partial owner of a practice or you own the practice, you have the autonomy. You get to say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do that because that's, I'm comfortable with this. I know I can do a good job. I know that my masters or somebody can make a lot of money with that and do that, but I don't feel comfortable with that and I don't want to do that. And that's good. That's okay. That's great. When you work for somebody else, you do what that company is going to do. And I'm not saying all the companies doing, bad stuff or things like that, but I'm just saying it certainly takes the autonomy away from the doctors. It's plus there's a lot of other stuff that's all these giant organizations want you to do that, frankly, I find a waste of time. And I just want to do the medicine and take care of my patients.
Yeah, that makes quite a bit of
Yeah,
sense there. Quite a bit.
good. The people have been calling me crazy. I don't know where they get that idea.
Maybe you have to be a little crazy to do this, but it's worth it in the end. I think some of the most successful people, some of the most like the best innovators and leaders in the world have been, a little out
A
there, so to
little,
speak.
is either a little crazy or just, I don't think I'm crazy so much as I am pig-headed. People say, wouldn't it be easier if you did that? Yeah, it would. But I'm going to do this anyway, just
Yeah.
because.
Well, I'm sure you believe that there's a better way. Like it's a gut
I
instinct.
do. I do. And, there are people who are going to disagree with me, and Hey, that's fine. That's why it's America. We got so many options, so many different things to do. It's great. I
Amen.
love it here.
Yes, indeed. So, what would you say sets your practice apart from other practices?
Well, I think part of it is, I mean, I'm not the only guy who owns his own shop. Okay, so there's lots of guys who own their own shop. So the thing that puts me apart, I think, is one of the things that puts me apart is that I'm a veteran. So we do a lot of a lot of work with veterans. We're a VA choice office. We're one of the few offices that takes TRICARE. That's a whole other story. So, and as a veteran, I think I relate to the veterans a lot more, a lot better. I had 2 tours of duty in Iraq as a doctor. So that means when I was over there, I drank a lot of coffee, watched a lot of movies, and I talked with a lot of the medics. So I didn't kick any doors or anything. I'm not a hero. I just the guy. I showed up and I patched boo boos when I needed to. Okay, but I did them. I was there, and so I just think it helps me relate with the veterans a little bit more. And in this area, this part of Florida, we have a huge veteran community. So I think that's one of the things that got my name out there and is helping us keep going along. So the other thing is being autonomous the way I get to decide which types of procedures I can add to our repertoire that we can offer to the patients, and which ones I decide no, I don't think that's worth it, or it's not a skill set that I think I'm going to be good at. The things that we do, patients know they're going to come in here, they're going to get quality. And I take a lot of pride in that because it's my shop, it's my name. So I think those are the things that set us apart the most.
Love that. And as you know, and myself as a fellow veteran as well, I can definitely relate and appreciate the fact that you're working with a lot of veterans and you understand everybody
Yeah,
understands the lingo, like they're kind of our people. But
that's
also,
right.
you probably brought that work ethic, the discipline that is needed to be successful in a practice such as yours.
Well, I hope so. You do what you can. That's right. What you said you were was it Navy? Well,
Navy corpsman, yeah, Navy
yeah,
doc.
that's right. Navy corpsman. That's right. I told you, yeah, I'm not going to hold that against you, but that's okay.
No,
Did you go through San Antonio? So did
I
the
did.
Navy?
I
Yeah,
finished
the
out my
Navy. Yeah, they go through San Antonio too. That's right.
Twilight
I
tour was
love
in
that.
San Antonio. Did a lot of training there over the years too, but yeah, finished out there.
Did a lot of time by the Riverwalk, right?
Yeah, the river.
Oh, right. I mean, I know you sailors. I remember that place. That was great. I've only been there a few times. I didn't get to. I was not a medic in the Army. I started off as an MP, but I do remember going to San Antonio a couple times as a doctor. I was a reservist at the time, and I just got to do a couple times down there. I'll never forget the first time I got to go down to San Antonio. Man, that was a blast. I had a really
Yeah,
good time.
yeah, it's a nice little town, isn't it? But
It's a
yeah,
great
I
town.
enjoyed my tours with the Army as well. Did an IA with them, and also that right there in Joint Base San Antonio. Kind of partnered with the
Did
Army
you ever
and
get
the
to? Did they ever get you to go play in the sandbox or Afghanistan or either one of those places?
Yeah,
Or
that's where I did the I. Yeah, it was in Kuwait, so kind of similar experience to you, like not
uh,
kicking down any doors. The closest I got was I went into Iraq for like a week to do a debrief, critical stress debrief for this EOD
oh,
team.
free deployments.
Yeah,
Is that what? Yeah, I remember. Yeah, they tasked me to do that once at the end of my first tour. And I was like, "You want me to do what? Yeah, sure, whatever. You want to give a lecture? Fine, I'll lecture on this. It was great.
yeah,
All
yeah.
I knew is I was getting to go home.
Yeah, that's what we did. We just went where they told us to go, right? When they told us to
Yep,
be there.
yep. I remember that. Yeah, you want me to go over there? Yeah, I'll go over there. I don't care. I'm going to go over there. I get to call my wife tonight, right? Okay, we're good. Hey, man, I have no illusions. Although most of the guys over there, I had it pretty easy.
Yeah, yeah. We were fortunate. We were very fortunate and blessed. Yeah. So next question is, what do you see, what benchmarks and milestones would you like to have achieved within the next 3 months to 12 months?
Wow, that's it's funny you should ask that. We have been trying to expand for quite some time actually, and it's been very, very difficult. Ever since COVID, it's been very difficult finding quality personnel and quality people to try and to join the practice who share the vision about where we want to go. But we now have two offices. We got a main office in our Sun City Center office. We got a satellite office down in Bradenton, which Right now, it's only a clinic, and where our goal is before the end of the year, and that's coming up fast, is to find a bigger space down there so we can put a full second office for where you can do procedures down there as well. So currently, so I should back up a little bit. What we do in interventional pain medicine, we do a lot of intervention. We do a lot of procedures like injections, steroid injections, epidural steroid injections, spine injections, hip injections, knee injections, basically from head to toe. If there's a nerve, I can put a needle there, inject a little steroid in it, see if we can calm it down. Okay. And that can sometimes provide significant long lasting relief. And if it doesn't, we have other backup procedures, maybe an ablation. Okay. That can, where we knock the nerve out, and that can give you relief for about 6 months to a year. Or we do other procedures like spinal cord stimulators, sacroiliac joint fusions, various other things. I can get into that in a little bit. And the vast majority we do right here in the office. So we need a procedure room with a table and a C-arm, which is a fluoroscopy machine. It's kind of a type of X-ray to guide our X-rays and everything, to guide our needles rather. So we want to expand and put another office down in Bradenton. Of course, that's a lot of money, a lot of overhead. And we're trying to avoid going to the banks because, well, the fees and the loan deals that are being out there right now are really much more in the bank's favor. We're trying to accumulate the capital right now so that we can go ahead and do that. Once we do that, then we're going to have to be able to add more personnel. So it's going to be a kind of a rolling thing. Once we get the second office, full office with another procedure room down in the Bradenton region, then we will add another doctor and another physician assistant and try to have two offices going at the same time. That's our next benchmark. And beyond that, then it's just a matter of growth and having, adding more personnel to be able to accommodate more patients. And that's a combination of continuing to add personnel as well as marketing efforts and getting your name out and basically your standard business model stuff.
Yeah. Wow. Fascinating stuff. And yeah, you've got quite the list there. So I wish you the best
Yeah.
as you
Hope it
embark on.
works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Got
guess
it.
we'll see.
Yeah. No, I think you're on your way. You'll probably definitely get there. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about what we see in the world today with
Ooh.
AI. How do you see that impacting your field and your practice? And do you have any
Well,
concerns?
yeah, I mean, everybody's seeing AI come down the pike and whether or not it's going to do good things or bad things. Everybody in my office knows. I mean, you can see that. I don't know how clearly the color of my hair is. It's pretty dang gray and it's pretty dang thin. But so yeah, I'm an older guy. When I was a young man, I loved computers, loved them. My undergraduate was in physics, actually. I was really into computers and the like. Since coming into medicine and being, and they keep adding more and more stuff for us to do because we have computers. My attitude on computers has really flip flopped. Everybody will tell you, do not like computers. I don't like using them. But just to let you know where I'm coming from. But yes, I see AI coming down the line, and I think it's going to make a huge impact on medicine. Certainly, it's going to make a huge impact on the private practice of medicine, especially since we'll be the first thought in my mind, and most other doctors I'm talking about is or talking to is that we're going to be using it for dictation systems, so that instead of anybody who's been to the doctor in the past 10 years knows when the doctor comes in the room, if he comes in the room, he's usually in there with a computer and while he's looking at you and he's looking at the computer and he's typing away at the same time. It's like, what do you think of this? What's going on with you here? How's your knee? How's your back? How's your head? Click, 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 click. Okay, what's going on? And it's just very distracting. And it's very hard to focus on the patients. If you patients think you don't like it, the doctors hate it. We all hate it. Even the ones who like computers, we all hate it. Okay. So the thought of using AI scribes, artificial intelligence scribes, so that we can like to push a little button, I can talk to you, and you can tell me your thing, and a computer is going to write it out for me is a big, big deal. I love that idea. That said, I'm also very skeptical about how well it's going to work because there is not a program in the world that I have ever used that has ever worked exactly the way that has been described to me. That it crashes here now, and now there's some kind of glitch over here, or something that was working for months or years all of a sudden isn't working anymore because somebody did an upgrade. So I think I think that we're going to be surprised about how well AI works and about how poorly it works at the same time. That's what I see coming. I see it getting pushed out really fast, people being forced to use it, being amazed at it at first, and then after a while, that honeymoon shiny period is going to wear off fast, and we're going to be like, how come that thing's broken again? Why is it down again? Why are we calling IT again? So I think it's going to definitely be a double-edged sword, but it's definitely coming, and that's just maintaining the electronic medical record, the EMR. There's going to be a lot of other things that it's going to be used for, like in the surgical operating room. Probably it's going to be used to improve uh, uh, the accuracy of robotic surgery and things like that. Probably, the accuracy of just about anything that is computer based, both on the anesthesia side and the surgical side, and pretty much all the other specialties as well. You have to ask them about that though, about how it's going to help with those things. But first and foremost, I see it helping in the office as a helper, as a scribe. Okay, which I'm looking forward to trying it. I've tried it a couple times and I was pretty impressed, but I definitely saw some glitches already. So we'll see if they can work those out and make it work better.
Nice. Yeah, that's
Guarded optimism. Let's try that.
very
That's a
nice.
good one. That's good for. I just made that up.
I like that.
You can have that. You can use that. Go ahead. Yeah, patent it.
Guarded optimism. Will no, I think that's a very good insight. Like you said, when the internet came along, there was trepidation and there was like road bumps, there were glitches. It's going to be the same
Yeah.
thing with this, but ultimately the idea is to make lives easier and make our jobs easier. So hopefully that's correct.
My biggest fear is because anytime something is AI will work better than I think, and it really will make us be more efficient. My problem, and anytime that happens, somebody in the government finds a way to fill that gap. Oh, you're more efficient with this. Now we can give you even more tasks that are completely useless, and that just drives me up a wall because there's so many things that we're required to do that have absolutely nothing to do with patient care, but somebody in the government was visited by the good idea fairy, and now there's a requirement for us to do this or check that box or fill out this form. And it doesn't do anything except justify some bureaucrat's existence. That does worry me because there's so many things that we do now because we have computers. If we didn't have the computers, we wouldn't be doing them at all. And one of the things I'm thinking of the MIPS, which I don't even know what that is.
That may have to do with all the data that's being collected, right?
It has a lot to do with that. They get to be data hungry, and we can start to wonder, what are you doing with all that data?
Exactly.
We're collating it, making the world better. Well, how? Never mind.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
So, what has been your biggest challenge? I think I know where you might go.
In case you haven't figured that out, computers are one of them. They baffle the crap out of me. So my wife is actually my chief of operations. When we opened up, she was the office manager. Now she's chief. We got an office manager. She's chief of operations, which basically means when I can't figure something out, I'll say, "Honey, how does this work?" And she'll go and she'll figure it out because she's smarter than me, and so she keeps the place running. And so the things I'm worried about, I'm worried about just what I said, like the AI actually increasing our efficiency, and then somebody coming along trying to dump stuff on us to fill that void instead of us being able to do more for the patient. They're gonna come and mess with us. What else do I worry about? I worry a lot about where the insurance industry has gotten. They are making our job really, really difficult. Okay. We've been seeing this frankly, we've been seeing this for at least a decade or more with all the requirements for getting prior authorization before we can touch a patient, them denying them so much. It's been a real pain. And every year they make changes to their programs, to the various insurance packages that they offer. They don't put it out, or they'll put it out on some obscure website, like on page 14 deep or something like that. It's almost impossible to find out about this stuff until you start receiving denials, and then you start looking into it and you see, well, they changed the rule again. I'll give you an example. So we do epidural steroid injections, usually for, back and leg pain. Somebody's got pain go radiating down their leg, what we call a radiculopathy, commonly known as a sciatica, commonly treated with epidural steroid injections, commonly and effectively treated with epidural steroid injections. Now, sometimes the severity of the condition is such that you need more than one steroid injection, maybe two, maybe up to a series of three. Personally, I have rarely gotten to three. Almost never have I gotten to 3. I know by now, but by the time I've done my second one, I know this is gonna help you or it's not. I've rarely had to get to 3, but you can get up to 3 injections. They just changed the rules on that so that now if you're going to do an epidural steroid injection within 3 months, which we do a lot. So we say we do an injection, patient gets relief for about a week or so, and then the pain comes back. Let's do another injection, see how they do. Maybe if we get longer lasting relief, or maybe they don't, and it's time to go to surgery. But when the point is, we do the injection. Now they're saying if you do another injection within 3 months, you have to do it either at a different approach or at a different level. Why?
That's
Yeah,
my
me
point.
too. That's my point. Me too. We asked that question. There's no answer because that's the rule, because they made that rule. Well, what is that rule based on? What medicine is that rule based? It's not based on any medicine. There is no basis in medicine of that rule. And there's a myriad of things they do like that, basically just to change the rule to make it more difficult for us to do our jobs so that they can deny things. When you deny a procedure, 9 out of 10 times, the patient just goes away. We're tired. We got to go on to the next thing. We don't have time to fight all of the denials because we just don't have the time. It's like, okay, this was denied. Tell the patient, I'm sorry, you can't have that. You're going to have to stay in pain. Sorry about that. And then, we go on to the next patient because that's how it's set up these days. My grandfather's day wasn't set up that day. Okay. Like for now, if a patient comes in, they have an HMO. I see them. I'm going to do this procedure. Before I can touch them, I have to ask for an authorization, which basically means I got to talk to their primary care doctor who talks to the insurance company asking permission. May I please do this procedure for my patient? My patient, not their patient. The insurance company is not there. It's not their patient. It's their customer. It's my patient. It's their customer. And they get to tell me whether or not I get to do that. Okay, that's how it works nowadays. My grandfather was he was a town doctor back in the day, back in the 30s and 40s, and then 50s. And back then, I was told people just, he'd be walking down the street, somebody say, "Oh, hey, Hugh, hey, I got this. I was working in the barn, and now I got this pain in my neck over here. Come on over to my office this afternoon. I'll take care of it. Done, done. How come we can't do that?
It would
I
be
mean,
nice, wouldn't it?
uh, so many times I see a patient, they're in pain. I can't help them today. I got to schedule them out a week or two before I can actually do something for them. Where's the logic in that? Where's the help in that? These are the things that I worry about. These are the things I worry about with the future of, uh, of medicine, making things even more and more difficult for us to just deliver the care that we're supposed to be doing. And if you look online, you'll see a lot of doctors making complaints about this kind of thing. Finally, after all these years, I think RFK Jr. finally brought up the fact that all these denials and all this control the insurance companies have over medicine is a problem. I think he's the first one to actually point it out in 10 years or so. It seems like both parties want to just say, hey, everything's honky-dory. We all have insurance, right? Insurance does not provide health care. Okay. Doctors provide health care. Insurance provides coverage. Or, as is the case nowadays, a lot of the times, insurance denies coverage. They make a lot of money by keeping the public and the doctors and everybody else confused on how the system works. It's very, very frustrating. But that's yeah. So those are the things I worry about, the dark sides.
No, that definitely sounds like a sad state of affairs, and
It's a terrible state of affairs.
which is
The
why I think
medicine
it's
is still fun
important.
though. There's a lot of advances going on.
Uh,
Yeah, but trying to get the coverage for it's really a problem. We'll see. What I'm hopeful for is that uh, you know um, RFK Jr., like him or hate him, he's definitely shaking things up. And in my opinion, this is a system that needs to be shaken up. I don't know where it's going to land, but where it's headed and where it has been heading, I don't think is good for the country. Certainly not good for our patients. Some kind of shakeup to to rein in the power of the insurance. The insurance company shouldn't have this much power. Okay, it should be a shared power. It's like if the doctors make a decision, they need to, instead of saying, "Well, it's denied, we don't agree with it." It's like, well, you got to make a. They need to make a case as to why they're denying it, as opposed to forcing the doctors to make a case as to why they want it done.
hmm, yeah.
All the power's on one side right now, and I think it needs to be pulled back. They've got too much power. Too much power anywhere is a bad idea, regardless of its medicine or anything else.
Yeah, there's a lack of balance there. Yeah,
Lack
you're
of balance. Lack of balance.
and I think it's a good thing to expose some of this dark side, as you say.
Yeah.
Got to be put out there because the patients are the ones suffering at the end of the day.
Yeah. Jesse, tell me. I mean, I'm doing all the talking over here. You've had any experience with your doctors where you're trying to get something done and it was denied or that, or you look like a healthy guy, so I don't know if you've got any real magic from it.
Well,
If you don't,
for
that's a good thing. I advise you to stay healthy. It's a good idea.
yeah, that's always been my philosophy to start with prevention. But yeah,
More
knock on
apples. Get
wood.
them doctors away.
No, knock on wood. I think I
Right here.
nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The problem I see is the price. That's been a difficult, and then of course the red tape to getting. You talk about TRICARE, like they just switched over here on the West Coast to another provider. I'm not even really sure I fully understand
It
what they
went
did.
from I think it was Humana and now it's Optum, I think, or Optimum. I think it's
Yeah,
Optimum. And, yeah, they change over and then, oh, try to find out who's in charge. Is it TRICARE? Is it the VA? Is it the Department of Defense? Who's in charge? Yeah, they like to point you to another phone number, don't they?
yeah, and try to get a hold of a human being too. That's oh my god, I
When
don't
you
know if
do
I
get a hold of a human being, he's probably gonna be in another hemisphere.
pretty much, pretty
So there's
much.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
guess we'll
yeah,
see how it
yeah,
goes.
you're getting it now. Try using the VA more.
Yeah, you
Sometimes
think?
you'd be surprised. I mean, as veterans, we all know the VA's got its issues, but I've been using the VA now for, oh my God, how long have I been using the VA? Long dang time. Yeah, a lot of times it's like, hurry up and wait, just like in the Army. But I'm always surprised when things go well, because
Really?
sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. That's a fact. There are things that the VA has done very well for me. Problem is, it's usually so sporadic. It's hard.
Keep that in mind for sure. All right. Well,
Okay.
one last question, and then I'll let you go. I definitely appreciate your time.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
But what advice would you give to somebody who's looking to get into the same practice, start a similar practice?
Yeah, you know what I'm gonna get.
Loaded question.
I don't know. After all the things I just said, have you thought about bartending? It's a
Right.
plumbing. Call Mike Rowe. Become a welder. Yeah, there you go. Listen, medicine is still fun. It's really cool. It's exciting. There's lots of cool things to do in medicine. If you go into medicine, I advise caution for all the things I just said. You will likely be employed. Okay, so after 4 years of college and then 4 more years of medical school and then another average of 4 years of residency, and now people are wanting fellowships. That's another 1 to 2 years. Yeah, then you're talking about a grand total of 8, 12, 13 to 14 years of education before you actually start making a paycheck big enough to pay back your loans. That's a big commitment, especially if you're going to be looking at coming out and being employed. So, what I'd recommend is if it's something you really, really, really want to do, then don't just follow your heart, but use your brain and look at how much this is going to cost. And do you have the finances and how much debt are you willing to go into to make this happen? And is there another way to do it without going into debt? Maybe joining the Navy or the Army and having them pay for it, or something else, the Peace Corps, or I don't know, there might be some other ways to get to medical school paid for, all of which will hold you in good stead. Okay. So if you really, really want to do it, I'd say use your brain. Try not to go into super high debt the way most people go into medicine. They just do loans, get out, say, I'm going to be a rich doctor. And let me give you some news. The rich doctors are a thing of the past. Are we dirt poor? No, no, we're not poor, but we are not the millionaires that people think we are. That just don't exist anymore. Okay, not unless you get out of medicine and become CEO of a company somewhere. But if you really, really want to do it, then do it smart. As far as if you really want to open your own business, you got to be even smarter. Okay, because with the rate of inflation, and this is something I didn't even tell you, Jesse, is that the other thing that we're contending with in medicine, and the general public doesn't know this because I don't know why. I know the insurance companies don't want you to know this. but physicians have been getting pay cuts in our reimbursements. We don't set our own prices. Did you know that, Jesse? Did you know doctors don't set their own prices? We do not set our prices. And you come in here and you get an epidural steroid injection. That's not the price I set. The price that the insurance company pays, the insurance company sets that price.
Is that across all specialties?
All specialties.
Wow.
All specialties. The price of each procedure, of each intervention, has a code. And that code, yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's a code. This is how ridiculous it's gotten. And Medicare sets a price for what each service is worth. They've got tens of thousands of codes for every service available out there, for every diagnosis code, for every service for each diagnosis code. And it's very specific about, this code's good for this diagnosis code, but what's not good for this diagnosis code. And it's very complicated. It's ridiculous. It has zero to do with medicine. Zero. Okay. This has nothing to do with medicine. This is how you get paid to do your medicine. Okay. So that you can pay your bills and, put food on your table. And, for the past 6 years, since 2018 or 2019, every single year, we have gotten a 3 to 5% cut in that reimbursement for services across the board for physicians. Now, for surgery centers and hospitals, they've been getting raises or cuts in some places and raises in others. But doctors across the board have made a 3 to 5% cut every single year since 2018 or 2019. Okay, you can look it up. Don't believe me. Look it up. And be careful when you look it up, though, because I've experienced it every year since I opened in 2019. I got paid this much one year, then I got paid this much the next year for the same service. The year after that, I get paid this much for the same service, and on and on and on. This has all been happening during some of the highest inflation that we've seen in the past 4 or 5 years. Inflation goes up, our overhead goes up, our reimbursements per procedure goes down. That is a game that eventually is going to collapse on itself if it's not fixed.
Yes.
And nobody's been talking about it. The insurance companies don't want you to talk about it. It's just, it's very, very frustrating. But I talk about it, and I put it out on occasion on that kind of, on like this social media stuff, which I rarely do because, again, I'm old. But it's good to get this kind of information so that the patients know what we're up against. We used to see, back my granddad's day, he'd see 6, maybe 8 patients in a day. 10 is a very, very busy day. You'd be exhausted. Now, 25, 30 for my practice. Other practices are seeing 40. I know doctors who will see 50 patients in a day by themselves. 50 patients in a day. That's crazy. How? How do you do that? How do you do that and get quality? I don't know how. That's why I don't do it. But that's what people have been forced to do in order to maintain the income they need to keep their business afloat.
Yeah.
That's
Quality and
the
patient
kind of thing that needs to be pushed. That's the kind of thing that needs to be pushed out so the general public knows about it, so they realize. That's why the doctors are so dang surly all the time. And why it's so hard for them to get them to come into their office, to the room, and talk to them because they got 30 other patients waiting. That's not good. It's not
No.
good. Most of us would like to see the reimbursement go up so that we don't have to see so many patients. We can spend a little bit more time with them. That would be great. And there are doctors who do concierge medicine, so that's where the patients all pay, but that's going to be if you're in a rich area and you got patients with disposable income who can afford that. Middle income and poor patients, which is the vast majority of the country, they don't have that kind of disposable income. It doesn't exist. It's again one of those double-edged sword things. Who am I gonna care for?
Yeah. Yeah. You're
Yeah,
literally between a rock and a hard place. It's not
all the time,
a great place.
all the time.
And meanwhile, you're concerned about quality assurance, your quality of care, patient satisfaction rates, and those are gonna like
all of that
trip you up
silly
and about.
stuff that you shouldn't even be thinking about. You should be thinking about the guy in front of you. But here we
Mhm.
are. We should end this on a positive note. What can we say positive? Okay, Tampa Bay won last night. That's positive. It was a good game. It was like in the last, I don't know, half a minute or something. They scored. It was great.
The Blu-rays or
Was that?
the Blu-rays or the Bucks?
No, no, no. It was Buccaneers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay. Yes, they beat the Texans, right? Yes.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. That's right. I haven't even forgetting. I know they played somebody out west there, but if I'm in Florida, so everybody out west. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was a good game. I only caught like the last quarter of it. I didn't even. I was working, and so I got home and I turned it on. Like, oh, great, Buccaneers. And so that was a good game.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good game. And on Monday night too. So,
Monday, yes, 2 nights ago. I'm sorry, I said last night. I meant 2 nights ago. Time flies when you work all the time.
well, speaking of which, it has been a pleasure to have you on, Jim,
Yeah,
Dr. Warren. Appreciate
thanks,
it so
Jim.
much. It's been a great conversation. I wish you nothing but the absolute success in everything you're doing.
Alright,
Again,
thanks, Jason. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
absolutely.
A little bit
Okay.
of it.
Thank you
Maybe
so
I'll make
much.
my own. I'll bring you on. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna make my own I'm not gonna do a podcast.
But feel free anytime, anytime.